Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late. They cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide isn't bring on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed, begging the generations remember our story.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hold on a minute. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing today? Well, I hope. Tuesday is here. We got a nice, brisk November. Hope you're staying warm. Shout out to my poets, writers, content creators, so on and so forth. Appreciate you for being here. Keep doing your thing. You know the vibe. You see the title up here at the beginning. I got Sydney. I'm about to bring her up here in a second. 17-year-old sneaks a grown man into mama's house. You know that's a no-no. You know damn well that you shouldn't be doing that. It didn't really matter. In this case, mama wasn't having it. And let me bring Sydney up real quick. Hold on. Why is the messing around with my stuff? Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, that's better. What's the word?
Not much, just quiet morning. My kids aren't up yet. Yesterday was super nice. We had an actual downpour, so I very much enjoyed the rain. It was much less disappointing than the one that was supposed to come in over the week. But other than that, I've just been reading. Very proud of myself. I told myself that I'm going to stop watching as many videos and start reading books. And I'm officially, almost a little over a fourth, through the book. So this is the first time I've been reading a full book since college.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to get back into it myself. That's cool. Social media will definitely dry rot your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as much as I sit in front of this computer. So let me bring this up on a big screen so we can jump straight into it. It's not a very long clip. Mama wasn't having it. She was pissed. Make sure I got this sound up. Hold on a minute. All right.
Who just left up out of here? Get your motherfucking ass!
I'm sorry.
Get out! Get your bitch ass out! Get your
Okay.
bitch ass out my house! Get your bitch ass out my house, nigga! Get your bitch ass out! Nobody's in there.
Yeah, not a very long clip, but you get the gist of it. So her son snuck a grown man in her house. She caught it. He tried to play it off like he didn't know what was going on. And yeah, she snapped on him. She snapped on Ash as she should. You wouldn't think this is a common incident, but there are a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids who do this. How do you feel about that? Like your teenage kids being friends with grown ass men and women and then bringing them into your house without you knowing about it.
I would probably have a very similar reaction that mother did. As a human that enjoys humorous videos, I found that extremely funny. But as a mother, if I was in that situation, I would be absolutely furious. And I would most assuredly be equally furious at my son for choosing to bring an adult into his life in a relationship. But I'd also be equally horrified and angry at the person who decided to come into the house anyways, because just even ignoring the fact that it's an underage child, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're living with their mom, why are you sneaking in? Like, that's already shady. Granted, I'm sure a lot of us have done that, but if you are an actual literal adult, it's one thing like two kids sneaking in to hang out. And then again, with an underage kid. What was going through his mind? Like, did he actually think that was going to work out? I genuinely wonder how long they had been together, or if this was like a fling. Not that it makes it any better, but I definitely resonate with that mother's reaction. I imagine my mother-in-law would the same way. My mom died. She saw that, and he probably would have. 17-year-old daughter, and then I realized that it said son, and not that it makes any different, but I wonder sometimes how the internet changes their perspective, whether it's a male versus a female child. Because I feel like just with the way that there's misogyny out there, people might see it as a problem with a female child, but not a problem with a male child. I remember in one of my classes in high school, we were talking about like how people respond differently based on genders. And with men, if they're like a young man sleeping with an older woman, a lot of people will be like, oh wow, look at him, like he did, like he got the trophy or whatever. But if a young woman is doing the same thing with an older man, a lot of them will look negatively on her because they're like going after that money or whatever. Or like they have daddy issues. So I also wonder how much the internet's reaction to this is changed just by the gender dynamic of the whole situation. But just from the mother's perspective, I would do the same thing. Get out of my house. I never want to see your face again. And if I see you texting him, I will call.
He lucky it wasn't worse. Let there have been the right or the wrong conditions in the right household, you might not have walked out of there. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not walking out of mine. I'm in my house watching TV, sleep, or I'm comfortable in my room in my pajamas, and then I hear a noise that's unforeign, and then come to see that there's a stranger in here. My instincts are not going to automatically pick up that it's, for one, somebody that is with my child. I'm going to automatically assume somebody's breaking in or it's something close to that. You're more like, and especially in some states where you got to stand your ground, you're more likely to be met with a piece of shrapnel or something. Just saying. Another thing that I notice is the age. Now I don't really care about someone legally dating someone, right? That's going to be an argument until the day we die. People are going to say, "Oh, you're this and you're that, but you're illegal." That's always going to be the back and forth. This person right here is not even 18; they're 17, and the fact that you're sneaking this grown adult into my house, it suggests to me that I don't really know too much about this person, or you've never communicated to me that you were even talking to someone of that age and or of that gender. You probably know that your child is dealing with the same sex, but you don't know that your child is dealing with a grown ass man and has been for some time. You don't really know how long and to what extent they've been actually exchanging information. You don't know how often this man has probably been at your house when you weren't around, but you do have a camera. I noticed that camera's there. I don't know if that camera was always there. I don't know if she put the camera there wondering about some stuff that might not have been very pleasant in her, saying she was like, something is not right. I'm noticing some inconsistencies with things being moved and misplaced. I need to probably get some extra eyes in here. And then this is how she ended up discovering that there was more going on than she thought. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts in general. I'm definitely behind her. He got off easy to me.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking that too. Like he was very, very lucky that A, either dad wasn't home or dad wasn't in the house in the picture. And B, that she did not have her weapon, if she did have a weapon at all. Because I already know if my husband found a strange man in our house in the middle of the night, it would not end well. Even with my own mom, I know she has a weapon to protect herself. I don't know if she'd use it, but I don't know if I've mentioned it before. My mom's a 7th degree black belt in martial arts, and she's been doing it for like 40 years or something like that, to the point that when she would compete, she had to fight with the men's lightweight division because she was better than all the women in her like weight class. So he would have another thing coming for him if she ever found somebody in the house. Ironically, I did once have my husband sneak in when we were still dating in the house when she didn't know. He wasn't caught or anything like that, but I have had that experience. But I also was 19 or 20 at the time, and obviously he's the same age as me. But in the kids sense, in the on the kids end, like, did you really think that was gonna work? I also wonder, like, how often he has done that in the past, because I imagine it probably wasn't the first time. Just a guess, unless he got really unlucky and just didn't know how to do that correctly, without getting caught. But in general, just with the fact that it was an adult man, what were you thinking? I can imagine that this person was met online. Most people nowadays meet their partners on some form of social media or dating site. Most people don't meet their partners in person. So I also wonder where he even found this person. And the other thing that I always say is, if you're an adult, even if you care about that person, the fact that you're willing to overlook the fact that they're underage says a lot about you, because you know that it's illegal and you're still willing to do that. So there's something off with your morality. There's something off with your law compass. Because at the very, very least, if they did love that person, they would have at least waited until they were 18 and been like, yeah, I know we're hitting it off and whatever, but I don't want to do that because you're underage and I'm not ready for that. I want to wait until you're legal and everything like that. But the fact that they willingly got in that relationship it says a lot about the type of person that they are. And granted, I do understand the whole like, oh, but we're in love and whatnot, if that's what the whole situation was. But again, if you truly care about the person, you're going to also care about the fact that, one, it's illegal and you're kind of taking advantage of a minor. But then also you're overlooking the fact that you can get in trouble for this just for emotions. So not very good choices on either end.
None whatsoever. And as it was said yesterday, communication, there is none here. Mama ain't know something. And the guy who came in, there's some things missing in this man's brain to make him feel like it's okay for him to pop up at somebody's house uninvited. You didn't have a conversation with that lady. Why? If we didn't, first of all, if you didn't see nothing wrong with what you were doing, talking to a 17-year-old, why did you have to sneak? Why did you go around the corner, up into the chimney, and climb down in order for you to get what you wanted out of this? Why didn't you go directly to mama and have a conversation with her about your dealings with this young man? You didn't do that. You decided that the best way for you to get what you wanted was to sneak around and do everything underhanded so that you could appease your own sick, weird desires. You wanted what you wanted out of it, and it really didn't matter how the mother was going to feel. This was predatory. This is absolutely predatory to me. And I go as far as to say, to even wait on someone to turn 18 is weird. Now, like, if you just randomly met this person and they 18, that's something else. For you to have known this person already and you're waiting for them to turn that's weird to me. It's something is really off with you. I wouldn't even be supporting this. I would put this man in jail if possible. I would definitely be having a conversation with the kid because this ain't new. I mean, we kids have been doing that for ages. I used to do it, but there's a level of trust that's absent. There's a line that is disconnected between parent and child to the point where you are continuously doing things behind their back in order for you to do stuff that you ain't got no business doing. Period. I don't know. As a grown adult, you should feel weird about even putting your lips or put even having your mind fixated on a 17-year-old. Why is that even an attraction to you? You know what I'm saying? And then you don't have no respect for the mom or the property. What else is it that we don't know about here? If it's videos like this that make you wonder what else are we not paying attention to, right? Am I doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing here? Am I really talking to my son, or am I really talking to my moms or my dads? Is there a reason why I don't feel like I can be open and honest? Like, what are we missing there? I yield.
Going back to just to kind of reiterate one of the things that you said, it does go beyond like disrespecting the person and basically being a predator. But just the fact that you felt right to enter somebody else's home, who the child does not own the home, the mother owns the home. And if you are a respectful person, you would have asked for permission from the adult in the home to come into the home. I also am curious, not that it matters per se, but the age difference between the two of them, because judging by the voice of that person, they did not sound like they were also a teenager. Like, it could maybe potentially be more forgivable if the other person was like 18, 19. But that person sounded like past 30 at least. Like he had a pretty deep voice. Granted, maybe I'm just off because I'm not that great at guessing ages, but he really did sound like an adult to me. But this is definitely a huge communication issue, and I think this is a great example of why parents can't just assume that their child is telling them everything. This is something that I experienced with my own mother, where I mean, there's a lot that she does not know that I did and went through and experienced. I never really felt comfortable talking to her because she, one, didn't really respond to things very well. And so it was difficult to even talk to her about things. She also was fairly naive, and kind of, I don't know, would brush things off or not think things were a problem. And she also didn't really, I don't know, she was like invasive in all the wrong ways, but she just was not present in a lot of the ways that she should have been. And so I just got in the habit of not really talking to her about anything because I just never trusted her reactions. I never trusted that she'd listen or understand. And so I definitely was that kid that would hide everything from her. Like I would never want her to see what I was texting people. And I would be in like relationships with people that she didn't know about. I mean, obviously none of them were adults, but I would be in relationships that she didn't know about, and I would like lie to her about why I was going to, like, there's the farm at my school, and so I would meet the people that I was dating there, just saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go take care of my animals, and I would just spend time with them there. So it was hard for me to be upfront with her, but that's a good example of why you have to form a good relationship with your child. Because if you have more of the authoritarian parent style where you don't really care how they feel, you don't care to listen to them, you just kind of, this is my house, these are my rules, they're not going to be forward and upfront with you. Granted, I'm not saying you should be your child's best friend, because being an allowing parent and just, yeah, you can do whatever you want, I don't really care, that's also going to cause these problems. You're just going to know about it. And they're just going to be more open about it. But there needs to be a level of openness within the relationship between you and your child. That way they know and feel comfortable telling you things. And coming to you, even if it's something that's uncomfortable for them to talk about. And then as a parent, you still also have to be very discerning and understand that children are children and they're not always going to tell you the truth anyways. So even if you do have that open relationship, that open trust, that doesn't guarantee that they'll always be honest with you. And so you have to make sure that you're still, as I said, discerning, still paying attention to the things that are going on. Because, I mean, young people, they're very bad at hiding things. It can be very obvious when they're going through a relationship with somebody, or doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, because they just don't know how to hide their deception very well. They haven't had the life experience to really recognize when they're showing that type of behavior. And so you have to be really on top of that and really understand what behaviors are normal for them and what are not. And also be on top of, like, they're mysteriously wanting to go out to these places, like stay there with them or something. Like it's I think it's hard because you do want to give them their freedoms, you do want to give them the chance to experience life and have their space, And you obviously don't want to be like a helicopter parent because that obviously is not going to help the situation. They're just going to try harder to hide what they're doing. Um, and my mom would do the same thing to me. I went to the mall once to hang out with my friends, and she literally sent one of her karate friends to follow us throughout the mall, just to make sure we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. So, like, that kind of stuff breaks down trust, but you need to do it in a way that builds the trust between you two, shows that you care about them and you want them to make the best choices, but also doesn't stifle their ability to be themselves and to go out and do things. Um, I think another really important thing too is having access to their social medias and like what they're doing online. Um, I I don't know how I'd feel about advocating for like you to read their messages because I think that's kind of a breach of privacy, but paying attention to who they're friends with and making sure you get to know the people that they're friends with, or at least the parents of the people that they're friends with. That way you kind of have a good idea of who they're talking to and who they're hanging out with. So if you see an unfamiliar name, be like, oh, who's that? Like, ask questions and ask them to introduce them to you. That way you know who these individuals are and you can further guide them based on like how that person is. Because even if they aren't above age, um, it you still kind of want to know your kids' friends because some of them could be really bad negative influences. And so even though you can't tell the child like you can't be friends with this person because we all know how that works out, you can at least gradually talk to them about the behaviors that that friend is showing and help them realize that the things that they're doing are not healthy. Um, so it's important for parents to balance the line between respecting their child, respecting their need for freedom and for socialization and stuff like that, but also being cautious and helping their child navigate the social sphere in a healthy manner. And it's also something that you kind of have to ingrain early. I know a lot of parents don't like broaching the topic when their kids are younger. But I think like once they start to approach puberty, like early middle school, or honestly nowadays, even like early elementary school, like when they're like 10, 11, you need to start talking to them about like if you are approached by an adult and they say these things to you, if they're trying to foster this type of relationship with you, run away. Like, do not engage with this person because it is not healthy. It is not it is illegal. And to instill in them early on to know that an adult trying to get in a relationship with you is not trying to get in a relationship with you. They're trying to be a predator. A lot of people think, oh, they're basically 18. Like, when you're that young, the years are a big difference. Like, a 15-year-old is very different than a 17-year-old. A 17-year-old is very, very different from a 19-year-old. Growth happens very quickly during that time period. And a 17-year-old is going to be vastly less mature than somebody who is like 20, 21, 22. And even though the age difference is only like 3 years, people are in the mindset of like, oh, well, 30 to 33, I'm not that different. But it's not the same thing. It's like if you think of it even younger, like 3 to 6, you can see such a huge difference in growth. And while 16 or like 17, 18, 19, while that growth isn't necessarily physical, the mental part is incredibly different. As I said, like a 15-year-old is not going to have the same mind as an 18-year-old. And the brain itself doesn't even stop developing physically until 25. And so a 17-year-old is 8 years essentially immature. And it leaves them more vulnerable to manipulation, because at that age they still don't fully have a grasp of nuance, of sarcasm, of like hidden between the lines type of stuff. They're still more likely to take things literally. They're still soft when it comes to their self-esteem. They still haven't developed any sort of worldview yet because they haven't had exposure to quote unquote real life. Like they haven't been out there. And so they're more susceptible to the types of manipulation that is often used by these types of predators. It's something that parents have to keep in mind, that yes, they might be 17, they might be 1 year off from 18, they might it might almost be their birthday, but they still have a child's mind. They still have not grown past that stage yet. And honestly, like even like 18, 19-year-olds, they really shouldn't be with like a 27-year-old, 28-year-old. Like these are very different periods in life, and it can do harm to a child to be with somebody that is that old, because as I said, they're more easily to manipulate, and they're also more likely to see this person as like someone to look up to, which is not exactly what you want in a relationship, because it allows a different power dynamic. It allows it to be more easy for the person to be controlled, because technically in a healthy relationship, you need to be on an even playing field. It shouldn't, like, granted, you can in some areas look up to the person, but it shouldn't be like you are this young mind looking up to this spouse to do everything for you, teach you everything, guide you, whatever. Because as I said, it leaves you more vulnerable to abuses. If you aren't able to have like an even playing field, because then if there is a fight, if there's a disagreement, that person is just going to be able to put their foot down, be like, I'm older, I know what I'm talking about, you have to do what I say. And so it's important, especially for younger people, to know that the dynamic of a relationship with somebody that's significantly older than them is potentially going to be harmful to them, even if that person has the best wishes for them. Like they don't have that abusive mindset and whatever. There's still a mentality that's going to affect that relationship, and it's still going to kind of have an element of domination over that child, whether they mean to or not. So it's important to instill that into the child early, to know that it's not exactly healthy to pursue a relationship like that. So yeah, parents need to have good communication with their kids right off the bat.
I'm gonna close out with this. Especially if you are a parent or you are uncle or aunt or something like that. Kids are smarter. They think they're smarter. They think that they're doing something that we never did before. So they're consistently trying to find ways around beating the code, but we've already mastered it. We've already done what they've done. So with everything that Sydney just said, which I agree with, communication, making sure that there's a playing field where you're both understanding the objective, but they know that you're the authority figure. There's no reason why there should be such a far gap in between you and them that they can just go out and stray for long periods of time and then find themselves in so many situations that they could have avoided had they have had that covering over them. Whether or not they're always in your your parameter or not, the information which is outsourced to them allows them to still have that shield around them, even though you're not constantly in their presence. For someone to be able to have adults coming out of your property without consent and without knowing is absolutely crazy to me. And that guy again is very fortunate of the outcome. He needs help. He needs some form of accountability held towards him for thinking that it was okay for him to be in someone else's house at whatever knows what type of hour that was, just walking around so freely. This is extremely dangerous. Stop trying to be friends with your kids. You're supposed to guide them. You're supposed to make sure that they don't end up like the statistics and the number of prisoners that's constantly getting arrested or put in the ground, or whatever you want to pick from of this toxic tree of life. So yeah, I'm glad nobody was harmed, because it could have got ugly. And no, you don't get to dictate who and nothing. When you 18, you want to have people over, you do it in your own. You don't bring nobody in my house, period. I need to know who is who. I need to know who this person's family is. I need to know what type of career. Like, nah, ain't no way in the world you're about to tell me you dealing with a grown ass man at your young age. And nah, he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he went and did it anyway. I would put belt and fire to his butt as well if he didn't get it. Because if knowing mama, she sounded like she wasn't playing. So yeah, I appreciate everybody pulling up this morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'll be back later on 7 p.m. Eastern. I got some more work I got to get done over here on this side. But Sydney, I appreciate you for chopping it up with us this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you guys later.
I say good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Have a good day.
All right.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide isn't run on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep.